was privileged to visit in 1972. It's one of the most magnificent valleys in the solar system. The role of bright craters and dark hills finally intersects the bright slopes of the massifs that form the mountain walls. The North Massif is at least 6,000 feet high above the valley floor, but the South Massif rises to over 7,000 feet. And they are silhouetted, in a sense, against a blacker than black sky. And within that black sky, hanging over the South Massif, is this beautiful planet Earth.
That's the moon.
What are all those pictures?
Within a single lifetime, we've progressed from the first space rocket launch to using space technologies in our everyday lives. Both governments and private companies have taken up the challenge, launching near-Earth satellites for communication, imaging, and navigation. Low Earth orbit has become another part of the world economy. The International Space Station has been continually inhabited for over 20 years, hosting
right
teams
there, like
of
that
astronauts who carry out
that white
research
spot
and trial new robotic technologies.
That's the space station.
What is this?
Now, we are
Station
ready
right
to
there?
start a new chapter in the history of human endeavor. To take our first steps towards a permanent off-world presence. Forward to the moon.
Is that the alien?
The moon, our closest neighbor in space, and the perfect training ground for more distant travel to Mars and beyond. The moon is also an interesting destination on its own, with ancient geology giving clues to our own planet's history. NASA has sent astronauts here before, but this time it's different. An international effort supported by multiple partnerships with governments and private
I've been
enterprise,
there
You
before.
very
all
nice.
with a shared vision of our future in space.
What are? I've been there.
The NASA program that landed humans on the moon
How
last
did they
century
know
was
that? I
named after
went
Greek
there.
sun god Apollo. NASA's 21st century program to take humans forward to the moon is called Artemis,
Nana, hey Nana,
the
do you
Greek
want
moon
there?
goddess, the twin of
Do
Apollo.
you want there?
NASA's Artemis spacecraft is called
Whoa.
Orion.
That
As with
was
all twins,
super
there are some similarities.
cool.
The Orion crew
That
module,
is super
which carries the astronauts, looks at first glance very similar to Apollo's command module. Both spacecraft have the same conical shape, but there are many more differences here than similarities. The Apollo command module was manually controlled by analog knobs and switches, with less computing power than a smartwatch. Orion has been developed using cutting-edge materials and technologies, certified for long-term missions. In partnership with private companies, NASA is using the Artemis program to drive innovation across the space sector. Like Apollo, Orion is attached to a service module, which carries supplies and provides extra thrust. This module is provided through a partnership between NASA and the European Space Agency. Power for longer missions is provided using super light efficient solar panels rather than fuel cells. So why does such an innovative craft as Orion have the same shape as Apollo? It turns out there's one very good reason these spacecraft look similar. The astronauts have to come back. And if you travel to deep space, you come back fast. Plunging into Earth's atmosphere at 11 kilometers per second, or 25,000 miles per hour, this shape gives the best chance of survival. Self-orienting with heat shield down. Digital technologies have come a long way over the past 50 years. But physics hasn't changed, and the math works out the same. So, Orion can bring astronauts safely down to Earth. But to get up into space in the first place, for that, Orion will need a little help. Launch is the most dangerous time for any astronaut. A launch abort system is attached to the Orion crew
I've
module,
been there.
ready to power them away to safety should anything go wrong. Its rockets are so powerful that the acceleration alone could knock the passengers unconscious. But this will help ensure the safety and security of our beloved astronauts aboard the largest rocket ever built. As tall as the Statue of Liberty, SLS involves a core stage with
What is
2
that?
vast fuel tanks.
That's a big
One for
rocket
liquid
ship.
hydrogen and one for liquid oxygen. These tanks feed 4 car-sized rocket engines with an explosive mix. To lift Artemis into Earth's
Wow.
orbit,
It
these
has one,
engines,
two,
along
three,
with
four,
2 solid rocket
engines.
boosters,
Yeah.
will accelerate SLS
And then are you taking
34,000
a nap?
kilometers per hour
I'm going to when
or
I get home.
21,000 miles per hour.
Molly, are you gonna stay up?
The SLS upper stage will give Orion its final push forward to the moon.
I want to take a nap.
To select the best possible crew, NASA has considered the individual skills and experience of hundreds of trained astronauts to select the 18 members of the Artemis team.
I think I've always looked up at the moon and thought about what it would be like to be there. We're going to the moon to explore, and we're going to the moon for scientific discovery. I don't look at this as my own accomplishment or something just for me. This is our mission. This is everybody's mission. Our entire planet's really.
I was sitting at my desk in the Russell Senate office building, and I got a phone call from a Houston phone number, and by the time I answered, I missed it. And so I called back, and after a lot of waiting and being transferred, I was transferred to Janet Cabana, who was the chair of our board, and she asked me if I wanted to come to Houston and commence training. And I actually pinched myself several times walking back to my office. There is no way that this is a real thing. I'm gonna wake up and be so disappointed. When I woke up the next day, and I actually had an email from Janet saying it was not a dream. That was actually unreal.
When I realized that being an astronaut is really the opportunity to expand our understanding of the cosmos, make our world a better place, all while inspiring the next generation.
Why they're putting a
NASA's
flag
finished
on the
accepting
moon?
applications for new astronauts.
Of the roughly
Been there.
3,500 applicants NASA is expecting, only about 15 will be selected for training.
And I thought to myself, well, that's great. There's no way that I would ever be accepted to become an astronaut. And I went home and I spoke with my husband about it. And he looked at me like I was crazy. And he said, why would you ever pass up such an incredible opportunity? If you never apply, you're never gonna know if you could make it or if you couldn't make it. That really changed my perspective on life.
Going to space is awesome. Mind you, I can't believe this is actually happening. It's the coolest experience ever.
One of the best decisions of my life was taking summers away from grad school to work search and rescue in Yosemite. One of my favorite parts of the job was getting thrown into situations where I wasn't quite sure what to do. The confidence I gained from that was that I can deal with the unexpected and adapt and overcome.
Watching rockets launch, right? I mean, watching shuttle launches as a kid was an
Why
enabler.
there's a rocket on
How do I become
another
a part of that? How do I
side?
join that team to go do that? My previous job was to keep the world from going backwards. This job is about getting the world to go forwards.
What is that astronaut doing?
Whoever flies Orion to the moon will have a formidable journey ahead. The moon is 384,000 kilometers or 240,000 miles from Earth. It will take the Artemis astronauts about 5 days to reach
40
it.
years
Every
away
moment,
from Earth.
lives the
7
hundreds
years,
of engineers
18 years,
who designed and built Orion's protective systems. Beyond Earth's magnetic field, the spacecraft will be exposed to the dangers of deep space.